my Overwater P5 custom. This is my first Overwater bass that I had. It's got the reverse P pickup and the Music Man style humbucker in the bridge position there. So it's a bass that I sort of commissioned first to try and get a bass that could sort of cover everything, really. And because the fashion at the time was P basses rather than jazz basses. But yeah, it's got the active and passive sort of tone control as well, which is nice and useful. Sweepable mid frequencies and treble and bass boost and cut as well. It's 35-inch scale, so get a nice tight low B on that one as well. But yeah, this is my first one, and it's the one that I use 90% on all sort of sessions. It's usually strung with flat wound strings, but I'm not too precious on it. I'll put round wounds if I need to. But yeah, this is my first one, and definitely my number one bass. So this one is technically my second Overwater bass that I had, even though I commissioned another one. I had this one through a little bit quicker. This was to replace, I was playing 5-string Fender Jazz for years professionally. That was like my number one for sort of hip hop, rap and pop. But I've always fancied the Overwater J's anyway. Again, this one's 35-inch scale. A little bit of a different setup with the active electronics on this one. Yeah, we've got the boost and the cuts for the bass, middle and treble. Still got a passive tone, which I'm thankful for. See, that's a recurring feature on all of my basses. But these ones, they have that which pops out, and that's a treble boost. Just so I can cut through a little bit if I'm doing anything that's like fancy-ish, and I want to just stand out a little bit. But all black hardware, and yeah, this is used for any sort of pop gig, R&B, hip hop. Just used for anything that I'm not going to use the green P bass on, really. Yeah, it's a really, really cool one. Really, really cool. This is the latest Overwater that I had. This was commissioned very kindly for a tour where I required a 5-string fretless, which isn't that common. About 4-string fretless basses before, but there was a really big need for having the 5-string one. Controls are exactly the same as my J5, so I've still got that passive tone, and I've got that treble boost as well. Originally I was going to go for 2 like J-style single coils, but I was using a first year of production 1976 Stingray, so I was offered to have a Music Man style pickup put in the same position, and this sort of just is a more reliable, more defined sound really compared to that, and it's easier to sort of transport without worrying about damage on a vintage instrument. It's got a nice walnut top, walnut facings on the headstock, black hardware just like my other J bass, and a really, really nice ebony fingerboard as well. But yeah, it's really, really great bass, and definitely a sort of Stingray killer sound wise as well. It's really good. I usually sort of back it off, just use that Music Man style pickup, bit of boost to the bass and the treble, and then the passive tone just down a little bit usually. But yeah, this is the latest one, and I'm using it a lot more now. We're very thankful that they sort of built this for me and got it out to me in such a timely manner. Really at all. It was great. Really, really good bass. This is sort of the biggest commission I made with Overwater. When I visited their workshop, I tried a 4-string fretless version of their hollow body basses. This is a slimline hollow body, so it's quite thin. And yeah, the minute I played the 4-string one, I sort of fell in love and wanted to commission it. Mine's got a few sort of different options on this compared to some of the other production models. So first of all, I've got 2 outputs. So I've got my balance line as well as my 1/4-inch jack there, which is very useful in sort of studio situations. Preamp and sort of electronic wise, very similar to my J basses. I've still got that treble boost on the volume pot, and then my passive tone, which I really rely on quite often, but yeah, my bass, middle, treble, boost and cut. Also, I've got this removable finger ramp as well, which 99% of the time I'm playing with it sort of on the bass, but being removable is quite useful. But yeah, string through body. This one's 34.5-inch scale, just because of the high C, we don't want that too tight there. Beautiful sort of ebony fingerboard, Zebrano wood top, my custom inlay as well. On the headstock, I've got the Hipshot D-tuner. This is a double stop one, so on the low B, drops down to B flat, and then also I can drop it down again to a low A when needed. Not very often, but I have used it once or twice in recordings to get that low A. But yeah, it's a mighty instrument, very wide fingerboard on it, but it's great for sort of chordal playing and sort of in that low register as well. But it's my sort of most beautiful bass, and one that I'm very proud to own as well. Such a beast of an instrument. Okay, so this is sort of an amalgamation of a few basses, but it's based on a custom 66P in the Shoreline Gold with the matching headstock and what they call the lollipop tuners there. It's one of my favourites to play. Any sort of very, very old school stuff, or if I want like that classic look for live performances, instead of using a 5-string, I'll use this 4-string. Got a very sort of nice autograph on this one by the GOAT, Pino Palladino. And this one's actually fitted with some custom pickups from Shed Pickups. So it's the sort of historically accurate P-bass split coil pickups, which are aged to the correct spec for this bass. And they are powerful and just get that vintage tone all of the time. Still got the old ashtray cover on this one. I do take it off when I need to palm mute stuff. Yeah, normally strung with flat wounds or tape wounds, but again, I'm not too precious on which strings that I use, so occasionally I will put round wounds on here when needed. But yeah, this is sort of my favourite 4-string. The only thing I wish is that it was a 5-string. That's it really. Yeah, such a classic bass.